Hey everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're doing something special. I am celebrating my friend Carrie Rhoades. She has hit 5,000 subscribers and she has a video over on her YouTube channel, like with a conglomeration of other artists that are celebrating her as well. But I'm going to show you my video here on my channel, but you can go over there and you can check out all the cards that people made casing her cards. Here is the card that I chose to case of the amazing Carrie, and I just love this card, the colors, everything, and so I'm actually going to make a mini slimline. Let's talk about the products I'm going to be using. This is the Snow Mole-bile stamp set from Trinity Stamps. I also have the matching die. We're also going to be using the Slimline Twist and Slide die because I need that smaller slide die there, but it has a lot of options. We're also using a Scenic border for our snow slope. And then I have this glitter and gold watercolor set. This is new to Trinity Stamps, and I am in love with it. I know Carrie likes to add a lot of shimmer to her product or projects, and I like it too, so that's what we're going to use today. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our stamping. I just have a piece of Express It cardstock that I've put into my Mini Misty. I'm going to stamp out our little mole onto that using some Blackout ink by Ink on 3. And we'll stamp it a couple times to make sure that I have a crisp image. And Miles is even going to come and visit while we do this. So I do have a funny story about a mole. When we were living in Kansas, we had one of those like storm areas for the basement, so that way water doesn't necessarily pool up in there, but other things did get pooled up, like wind would come and it would knock debris in there, or animals would sometimes get caught in there and there's no way out. And there's a window, so we could always see in there. Well, just so happens that a mole got in there one time. And I knew that that little mole was not going to be able to get out, so I just begged my husband to go in there and try to get him out, because I thought I cannot walk by this window every time I'm down here and see that little mole suffering. So my husband did go down there, and he did fish the mole out, but not before that mole tried to climb up his boot and up his pant leg. Watching from the window, that was quite a sight to see. All right, anyway, as you can see, I'm using my Copics. I did put the colors up on the screen for you, doing some fairly simple Copic coloring. This is a little bit of a smaller image, but I had to use him because he's sledding, and it was sort of like the little images that Carrie used on her card, which I'm so proud of her. She's well over 5,000 subscribers now, but if you know, she's awesome. She's just awesome. So congratulations to Carrie. All right, we're going to tack down our matching die with a little bit of washi tape, and then we'll run this through our die cutting machine. I love that this little die cuts out the snow in front of him and the line around him, so he makes them super easy to add to cards. Like I said, we're going to be making a mini slimline, so I went ahead and cut out our slope. Both of these are out of some watercolor cardstock, so I'm going to take this smaller piece and I'm going to cut this out for our little mole to be able to slide back and forth. What's neat about this is you can make this just about any size you need it to be. If you want it to be a little longer, you sure could, but this is about the perfect size for me. This is what I needed. So I'll run that through my die cutting machine, and I'm going to save that little piece out of the center so I can put it down on my card front as well. Peel all that off, and then we also need to cut out this little disc piece. That's what's going to hold our foam tape to our mole and allow him to slide back and forth. And I did that out of just some, like a postcard that I had was a little bit heavier than regular cardstock. I have this sped up about 4 times. We are doing some ink blending. I've pulled out some My Sweet Petunia pink along with some My Jam purple. And then we're just ink blending those 2 colors on there because the color that I chose to case used pinks and purples. And I thought that would be such a pretty little sunset for our mole as he is sledding down the hill. Here's where I bring in that glitter and gold watercolor set. I'm going to use the center color, and we're just going to use some water and pick up that water with our paintbrush and swirl that around on the paint, and then we're going to splatter that all over our background. This stuff is so beautifully shimmery. I have quite a few products in my stash that have a lot of shimmer and that I use for adding shimmer, but this one is definitely going at the top of my list of faves because I do like how much shimmer it does have. And that darling little tin, it's hard to be mad at that darling little tin. So I'll just keep splattering because I want to make sure that I have plenty of splatter all over that. And then that's what it looks like, all splattered and shimmered up. This card is actually, or the card panel that I'm using is actually smaller than a mini Slimline. And here's where I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece into, or back into where I cut it out of. I didn't glue down the slope yet because we actually have to use some foam tape on that. But I'm going to add some foam tape to my little disc and make sure that that's going to slide back and forth easily. And to make sure that it will, I'm going to add some magic powder bag to the edges, and then I'll even put that magic powder bag inside the slider. I do end up adding actually another foam square to my little disc because I just want to make sure that our little mole doesn't turn around too much. And then I cut off the edges just a little bit because this is a very small slope. You want to make sure that when you're adding your foam tape that that disc has plenty of room to move back and forth. So I'm going to use some skinny strips of adhesive or foam adhesive to make sure that that stays out of the way of our mechanism. And I'm peeling off the release paper here so that I can manipulate that a little bit better along that slope. Then I'll peel off all the release paper on all of our foam tape. And then I can just put this right down onto our card panel, making sure to put my disc down first. So that way it can move freely. And then I'll peel off the release paper on those and add our little mole. So there he is. And then he can move back and forth. He doesn't move quite as freely. He needs to be a little heavier actually. And then I should have done this ahead of time, but I wasn't thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. That's why I'm using my Misty. And I'll use that Blackout ink, and it does a great job of adding a beautifully black sentiment to the background. But what's interesting is it will not go over the top of the shimmer. So the shimmer like pops through, which is, I think, kind of cool. And then here's our card base. Our card base is actually a 6x6 piece of paper that I cut down, and I'm going to score it at 3 inches. And so here's our mini Slimline. That's the size that I chose to use. I'm going to stamp my mole on the inside using that My Jam Purple one more time. And then I'm going to grab a couple sentiments from a sentiment for almost everything stamp set. I didn't show that at the beginning, but I've got Just Because You've Been on My Mind. And then I'll glue down my panel to my card base, leaving a nice white border. And then that's going to finish off our card. So big, huge congratulations, Carrie. Super proud of you for your over 5,000 now, and I'm honored that you included me in your hop. I'll have a link down below so you can check out Carrie's video with that whole grouping of cards that were made in her honor. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.